Yeah. Okay. Welcome to the first
Eric Andre show.
Yeah. No, we're gonna get sued for that.
Oh,
now.
sorry.
Welcome to Dumpster Dive VHS's new show. It's called Feed Your VCR.
Feed your VCR.
Get it? Because we were being held hostage by a demon in a VCR, and we will sacrifice tapes to him so he does not kill us all. So the first tapes we have to talk about. We'll start off with Jason and the Argonauts. I'll do like a little,
Nice.
see?
Oh,
Boom,
whoa, that's
nice.
cool.
So this one, we didn't watch this movie. You didn't watch this movie.
I didn't watch that movie.
You didn't watch this movie.
I didn't watch it.
Because, let's see if we can get it on the camera. Pretty good. Actually, yeah, that comes out pretty good. Look at all of that text. This is so much text. So I'm going to read it. And let me know. This is a theater of the mind, right? So just kind of close your eyes. Close your eyes. Picture it as I read it. It's the time of ancient Greece, 2000 BC, and the city of, I don't know, Iolcus? I-O-L-C-U-S.
I'm dyslexic. That's just
Iolcus, thank you.
just letters.
Is under attack. Jason is only 3 years old when his uncle, evil tyrant Peleus, kills his father, King Aeson. I'm going to say Aeson because that's funny if his name's Jason. The popular ruler of the town from earlier.
And claims the throne. Furthermore, Peleus marries Jason's mother, Queen Palamere. Yep. Fortunately, Jason is rescued from certain death and taken away from Iolcus to be raised. 20 years later, Jason is informed of his past, and it's time for him to fulfill his destiny and reclaim his father's kingdom. Under the protection of the gods, especially Hera, Jason sets off on a dangerous quest to take back that town.
When Jason arrives back in that town, a threatened Peleus quickly sentences him to death. In exchange for sparing his life, Jason offers to bring his uncle the Golden Fleece, the greatest gift from the gods.
Peleus, who obsessively covets the fleece, agrees. Jason builds a ship, the Argo, and gathers a crew of adventurous and strong sailors, the Argonauts. However, a difficult journey will be made harder when Zeus, Hera's jealous husband, commits to stopping Jason. The quest for the fleece leads the crew to overcome endless obstacles, beginning with a mammoth battle against a giant the size of an island. Barely escaping, Jason next faces an epic hurricane that blows the Argonauts to
Limnos, an island of seduction where the women sacrifice their men. On Tabletop Island, the sailors are confronted by the deadly flying harpies, who swoop down and kill 2 of Jason's men.
Finally, Jason arrives in the city of Colchis, I'm sorry, people who study Greek history, where he might capture the fleece, closely guarded by King Aertes. I'm not good at Greek. With the help of the king's daughter, Medea, a sorceress whom Hera has made fall deeply in love with Jason, he tames a fire-breathing bull and squashes the king's army. He wins the fleece, and along with his new love, Medea, heads back to his homeland. Despite being presented with the fleece,
Peleus orders Jason to be killed. However, aided again by Medea, who creates a diversion, Jason stabs and kills Peleus. Jason is named king, and beautiful Medea is named queen. Peleus' fate is not so bright. He is sentenced to the afterworld, where he spends eternity being attacked by the spirits of the souls he killed, including King Aeson. Yeah. Destiny is fulfilled, and happiness reigns over Iolcus. So there we go. We just watched that whole movie. Did you enjoy it?
I did. It felt like the 4-hour runtime.
Yeah,
Just
that felt like
reading
4
that.
hours reading
Yeah.
that. That was awful. But something of note, I'll point to it. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. That's Dennis Hopper. Dennis Hopper is in this movie. And this movie was brought to you by Hallmark Entertainment. That Hallmark, the ones who make.
Hopper in a Hallmark movie. Come on.
Yeah.
Who'd have thought?
I don't know, man. I mean, this movie, like, it's 4 hours long, and I have no reason to want to watch this movie.
You just said it. Hallmark, Dennis Hopper.
I know, but it's 4 hours
Check.
long. Look, according to the back of this, Hopper plays Peleus. Peleus is in like 2 sentences in this whole thing, which means he probably showed
It's
up
like
for
2
one
hours.
day. No, he probably showed up for 1 day on set. He's probably in the same room wearing the same clothes the whole time. So
That makes it even better.
this movie's dumb. Yeah, I'm not watching it. So then the movie we did watch, which, a little background to this movie. We're going to be talking about Hard as Nails, which I'll point to another camera here, and we'll get a little
Get the
action.
lenticular.
Give this shit a
Yeah,
minute.
look at that. It's lenticular. Woo!
Paid extra for
Actually,
that.
that looks really good in camera. We watched this movie, Hard as Nails. I don't remember what the movie was we were watching originally, but we came across the trailer for this movie, which we'll play right now.
You don't get it, do you, Tony? We are this close to going to war.
Find out where this shit is gonna go down and we'll bust these assholes.
Everybody
You are a fool!
It's all an illusion, 'cause that's what you do. It's part of the process. I'm learning to use it. I'm wise on the topic of constant confusion. I love you, then I hate you, then I love you.
Standard military Makarovs from China. We'll make the exchange tomorrow.
Easter or ours?
LAX, Hangar 3, midnight. That's a lot of firepower.
Enough to win a small war.
Are we going to war?
We're going to be prepared.
Baby, switch! The Kuro will betray you.
You may have him fooled, but I'm on to you.
He's playing us against each other.
Why did you go to the police?
We all have blood on our hands. One bitch to another. We're after the same thing.
How'd I get up here? I always thought I'd end up way down there. Or only I would stop to even care.
Everybody screws everybody, don't they?
And now we're back from the trailer, and that was awesome.
It was like reliving the whole experience.
Cool. Hey, that trailer is really cool. It has every cool scene from the movie right there in it.
If it was just that,
Yeah.
it might be okay.
It sold me.
Yeah, we were immediately into it. Like, we immediately paused whatever movie we were watching. And
Which wasn't as important, obviously, as this.
because we don't remember what movie it was. And we got on eBay and bought a copy of Hard as Nails because it sounded awesome. And they said it had a lenticular cover, which was like, whoa, I definitely want that. And then we'll now talk about how we feel about this movie. Because, yeah, I don't want to give away my feelings about it. I think we can hold that for the end when we do our summary of whether or not we'll sacrifice this to the tape gods. Do you want to read the back of it for us? We're gonna.
When a young American member of
Read it.
Yeah, you can say that. It's not offensive.
this was made, when was this made? 2001.
1972.
2001, 1972. When a young American member of the Japanese mafia, in parentheses, Matt Westmore, assumes power, death, and deception, await anyone who gets in his way. Caught in this crossfire of betrayal and slashing swords, a gangster, in parentheses, Alan Scotty, must fight to survive to an uncertain future. In a world of betrayal and deception, again, a world of betrayal and deception. I don't know if that's really hitting home.
Is this a world where they can trust each other?
No, because it's in a world of betrayal and deception.
Good to note. I'll
He
note
must be hard as nails.
that. Just dumb. That is so
That is
dumb.
That's- They titled it the theme of the movie, but I don't know if that really is the theme of the movie.
Not the movie I watched.
Also, I think this is important to note.
Trailer, yes.
It says it's rated R for strong violence, sexuality, language, and some drug use. I think the MPAA saw a different cut of this movie because there's something missing from this description.
Yeah.
Which we'll get into. But so the movie starts, it opens up with the whitest looking member of the Japanese mafia, which we discussed it. Maybe it's possible. Maybe they don't have specifically just Japanese people in the Japanese mafia. But I don't know how all that works.
I'm not a member, I don't know.
He was the nephew of the
head
one guy,
honcho.
The head honcho.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought maybe, because he says uncle, but I thought, like, is that like a term of, like,
That's just kind
endearment?
of a mafia slang.
Yeah, or, you know, like...
What's up, uncle?
Well, isn't there that character from Avatar The Last Airbender that they call, like, uncle?
Uncle Ira? No, he says uncle. He's Zuko's
camera.
uncle.
But is that really... Okay, well, so I thought maybe it was
That's
just
his-
a term of endearment. But so he really is the child, this white guy is the child of the brother or sister of the main Japanese mafia guy.
I mean, I don't want to get into semantics, but
Well,
yeah,
okay,
there was
so
something.
I mean, basically, this dude's one of the whitest people in the Japanese mafia ever.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, my notes refer to him as weeb because I feel like if you're gonna go full weeb, you're gonna join the Japanese mafia.
You do get a sword
So,
that way.
Yeah, so he's
dream.
getting beaten up, and you don't really know what for at first.
Disrespect. Dishonor.
Yeah.
I don't know what the dishonor
he was
was.
working, because they found out he was working for the Russian mafia. Not working for, but working with the Russian mafia.
I brought you a deal.
No different than the men in this room. I won't lose face by breaking a contract.
Yeah, he's like about to get his pinky cut off, and then the uncle is like talking to him, and then a bunch of stuff happens. He basically ends up holding the uncle hostage with this like really cheap looking knife.
Well, no, you forgot the best part.
What is the best part?
The best part is when he's like, he says something about how I have to like uphold the honor, and he goes, well, what about this honor or something like that, and then they go,
Did
and
he say
that's when it happened.
dishonor or this honor?
I think it was this honor.
Because he should have said dishonor, because that'd be funnier.
It would be good.
And this movie's tone is all over the place, so they totally could do that.
They could.
Yeah, because then that's when they introduced the Matrix characters.
Yes.
Yes.
The
who
Blade
are-
Vampire Matrix characters.
Who we found out through the credits, their name is Tick and Tack.
Yes.
But they never say that. They never say that ever.
Sorry if that was too loud sound-wise. but
Well,
yeah,
that's
that was
good.
just
That's
like-
that's an appropriate response
Yeah,
to that.
I did not realize
They had
that
names.
they had names and that it was Tic Tac.
Well, I mean, because they kind of set up so it's like these people are like expert swordsmen. They're
Right.
the only people in this movie
Expert.
that can actually fight, though. I mean, they are
Yeah.
good.
What about, we'll get into that later, but the one woman.
Yeah, well, and the woman is actually like a really well-noted stunt choreographer.
Yes.
Whose name I think is on here. I think she's the. No, actually, she's not. Unfortunately, I should have written down her name, but I didn't. But they can actually like they can do pretty good stunt choreography work. But they end up killing like everybody in the room, including the uncle. And then the guy's like, "Oh well, that happened." And then he kills a prostitute that was hanging out.
Who was at first I assumed his
Girlfriend
like,
or
yeah.
something.
Sweet Julie. You know I love you, right? Stupidity whores can't keep their lips shut.
Thing.
Well, because she was his favorite at the club.
But we don't even know any of that. This is literally like the opening of this movie, and they're
That's
like,
fair.
it
There's
feels
no
like the
context.
ending.
That's fair. I'm
Yeah.
thinking
Yeah.
with context.
This feels like the climax to another movie. Like we rolled into this one.
It's the sequel.
Yeah.
yeah, that's what it feels like. But so then
Harder as nails.
Okay.
Not hard as nails.
I would watch a movie
Harder
called
as
Harder
it's
as
like
Nails.
Die Hard and Die Harder. I would love a cinematic universe set like in this movie. Like that'd be so stupid. But yeah, so it's just like done, and the sword, like the actual fighting is dumb because it's a lot of people spinning around
And shooting sometimes.
and shooting sometimes. But I don't think anyone shoots in this scene.
I think they pulled guns. Though.
Yeah, they pulled out guns, but they all just end up dying, and then
Which-
it's like he talks to that prostitute, and then he like takes out the knife and like slashes at her, which later we find out she got stabbed in the throat. Which I
Yep.
don't know, maybe he scared her and then stabbed her in the throat.
This is what you're gonna get.
Yeah. It looked like there were a couple stabs that were right into the crotch of some. So I don't know if that was just.
Was that when the guy was yelling?
Yeah.
He was like,
It was just like that was a little low for the stomach. I was like, that is horrific.
Maybe that all those guys woke up later and they were just crotchless now. They didn't,
I don't know if they're gonna wake up later. Yeah.
no, you try. That'd be a lot of blood loss.
Yeah.
Which is a theme in this movie later. So then, this movie, you're like, okay, so all that happened, and then it just like hard cuts to a strip club.
Everybody want a mother and a father. Everybody need a sister and a bender. I'm a winner, I'm a loser, I'm a number. I got a situation pending. It's all an illusion, 'cause that's what you said is part of the process. I'm learning to use it. I'm
Give it up for Cat, fellas. That's right.
which I don't think it's the main woman performing right now, but it's so long. All of the scenes where women are stripping are the longest thing in the whole world. And you don't, like, I have somewhere in my notes.
I was uncomfortable with how long they were.
Yeah, like, you just get bored, and then you're like, oh my god. I wrote in my notes, it's on my second page of notes, where I just say nudity means nothing to me anymore.
For real.
I couldn't care less anymore. Like, it wasn't, they don't even shoot it in an exciting way. It's literally just like they had like 2 cameras on the side of the strip club stage, and they're performing.
Yeah.
And a lot of jump cuts.
Yeah, a lot of jump cuts and zooming. And I think this one is the one where it's like she's performing and then she goes off the stage to talk to the DJ.
Yeah, because
And
then they
then-
had to bring up the exposition of finding somebody.
Yeah, because they were like, someone's missing. Who I didn't even write her name down because I didn't think she was going to be important, but it turned out she kind of was.
Where's Debbie?
I'll find her. Send Julie.
Julie, she hasn't shown up all week.
Making money on her back, legs in the air.
Go shake your ass.
It wasn't Debbie, it was...
Because Debbie's the main woman.
Was it Laura?
I don't know.
I'm amazed that you guys remembered names of anybody.
Well, because
How did
I
you
wrote
forget
down,
Debbie?
Yeah, Debbie she's the heart and soul of this
I
movie.
don't know.
She's like, he goes down to talk, or she goes down to talk to the DJ, who at first I thought the DJ was like not even on the same set as everyone else, because he just looks like he's in a different place.
Yeah.
But it turns out he really is there. And they're talking, and he says, or what is it? She says about the missing stripper. She's like, have you seen this missing stripper? And he's like, no. And then she's like, well, or the DJ goes, well, Debbie's on next. Have you seen Debbie? And she says that line. She's making money on her back with her legs in the air. And you're like, okay, so there's like a little side hustle here. But then the guy replies, he just goes, go shake your ass. And you're like, what? Okay, so
Go on, get
she goes into the back area, and that's when we're introduced to Debbie, who's having sex with
Misha,
Misha.
who also might be named Mikhail.
depending.
But maybe Misha, like, I don't know Russian. Maybe Mikhail, like, the nickname for that would be Misha. Or maybe it's something like a term of endearment. But the thing about the sex scene that I immediately noticed was that everyone had their pants on. Which makes me laugh every time. Because you're like...
Well, because it's a business, okay?
Right.
Yeah, they were
Business
just...
first.
Maybe they're just heavy petting. I don't know. But so that's when we're introduced to like the 2 lovebirds in the movie, where Misha talks about how much he loves Debbie. Although in my notes I refer to Misha because I didn't know his name as just Russian good guy, because I figured he was our protagonist in this movie.
Wrong.
Yeah, of course this movie has no protagonist or anyone to root for.
No redeemable characters.
Kind of, I guess. I mean, maybe later it's different.
I feel like I was
But,
emotionally...
Yeah, so Misha wants to marry Debbie, and then it hard cuts to our Russian mobster in the bath playing
Right.
Game Boy.
Yeah, Jabba
Color.
the Hutt.
Yeah, but the Game Boy Color doesn't have anything in it.
Yep.
They didn't have a game to put in.
And it's making sounds.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know how far we want to get into this, but is that foreshadowing the end?
I
Him
thought
playing
that.
with electronics. You know what I mean?
I don't want to give this movie any credit like that, though.
No,
I don't
I'm
want
sure
to
it
say
just
this movie,
happenstance, but
yeah.
it just came to me like, I
Yeah.
wonder. Yeah.
No, you're looking.
That might
at
have been the
this.
most thought out thing in the entire movie.
Yeah.
The director's watching this, and he just went, "Holy shit, guys!
They got it.
We
They got
accidentally, yeah,
The
no,
whole plot of the movie.
No, he's sitting there and he's like, I gotta write that down in case I do a Q&A. They ask me about that. Because I don't think that there's any world where they did that on purpose.
Yeah, I mean,
Because that was...
can we reveal the ending now, or
We'll hold off on that because
We'll
they'll... the whole ending is, I think, the thing that made up for this entire movie.
That's fair.
The whole ending sequence. Because then...
That should have just been the movie.
We get introduced to that character, Alexei, who's like the Russian mobster. It's like his bodyguard.
Yeah.
Who then gives us like a 5-minute lecture about how Glocks work from Austria.
That's true. I did like that. I learned something.
Which then also, that's another scene in this movie that comes into play later in the ending. It's another foreshadowing. Oh my god, this movie actually is a good movie.
they hit all the marks.
Yeah.
Foreshadowing is what makes a good movie.
In between 5-minute montages of strip club and
Yeah. There's like some like film school intern on the set who was like, have you guys heard of foreshadowing? And they're like, we should do that in our movie.
Let's do so much of it.
Because then we go from that scene back to the strip club scenes.
I don't know when we're not in the strip club.
Because that was
honestly.
at the strip club too.
It was upstairs.
Yeah, because she walked there, the blonde-headed woman,
I don't know her name either.
who's kind of a main character. I just wrote blonde woman because I didn't ever get her name. So then we follow her back into the room. It gets like it all blurs into one. No,
What is she doing? She needs to see this.
yeah. What is actually she has a illustrious career in the softcore porn industry.
I figured.
She's actually this one. She's Kim Yates.
Huh.
She has she is in a lot of softcore. I looked at her IMDb page and it was all like very like late night Cinemax kind of movies.
She knew what she was getting herself into then.
Yeah, which is surprising because she actually has the least amount of nudity in this movie.
She just has the one
well,
scene.
kind of.
Well, yeah, that's
Towards
right.
the end, it gets
I forgot
weird.
about.
But yeah, so we go back to the strip club, and that's when I realized this had like a Jim Wynorski vibe to it because we're getting a lot of nudity, prolonged scenes of nudity. And I was like, oh my god! And that's when Weeb guy shows up to talk to Debbie.
No, he didn't want to talk to Debbie. He was there for the Russian mob.
Oh,
but
yeah.
then he saw Debbie and he was like,
And he's talking to her about getting a
Hey.
private dance.
Yeah.
Because that's the scene where her clothes come on and off.
yeah.
A night together.
Well, Mr. Kanata, you know that's against the rules.
You forget I make the rules.
You do.
On the shots where it's her
Yeah.
shot, she's topless, but when it's the reverse shot, she has some like top on.
It makes you wonder if there was just like an ounce of respect.
Or she was like, no, I'm not going to be naked the entire time. I'm not seeing anything.
So when it's your back, you're not going to be naked. Don't worry.
Yeah. Because it's like, or they're like, no one's going to care about that anymore.
Yeah.
But it's so glaringly obvious. You're like, oh my God. Like,
I don't even
she's
think it was
wearing
her. I think
clothes.
it may have been just like person
That was
stand-in.
the intern, the film school intern that had to
Honestly,
work
it
on this
could've.
poor
It's a
movie.
Place for foreshadowing.
Yeah. See, this is foreshadowing the relationship, the on and off relationship he has with Debbie.
The on and off bra.
Yeah, the on and off bra. I don't think that's true at all. But then we get the whole thing that like Weeb guy from the Yakuza wants to sleep with Debbie. But Debbie's like, I'm a stripper with a heart of gold who wants to marry Misha.
Which
Yeah,
I
like-
understand. Misha is kind of adorable because he's like,
Yeah, he's
innocent.
like 15 probably.
Well, as we
Well,
learned.
because we're not gonna get into that yet, but like she does act very childlike, which is weird. But I thought it was just because she was just like that's her character. But whatever. So next we're introduced to another new character. So we've been like each time it cuts to a new location, there's a new set of characters we're introduced to.
I
And
like it.
we're-
Keeps me on my toes.
We're introduced to the detective, who I said looks like Judah Friedlander from 30 Rock.
He did.
But
Yeah,
yeah.
that's accurate.
yeah, he looks just like him.
I like to think that's when he left 30 Rock, when he pretends to fake his own death. He becomes.
He goes to be in this movie?
Yeah.
Or does he become Detective Tony and this takes place in the 30 Rock universe? Whoa.
That's too much for me right now.
Yeah.
Foreshadowing.
It's heavy.
Foreshadowing 30 Rock.
That's a big foreshadow.
But that's when we were introduced to him. His name's Tony. That's his actual name. He's Detective Tony. But I call him Detective Judah for the rest of the movie. They go and look at the dead body of the woman from the beginning who's just stabbed in the throat. And then that's when he gets on his soapbox about human trafficking. Where he's like, oh, this world, like they're bringing children in and they're making them like, work for them until they pay off their ticket to America. And you're like, why is this in the movie? Like the other cop must have been like, oh, God,
We all
he's
know.
doing it
This
again.
is our job. We know this.
Yeah.
We know.
It's like that Ice-T joke about having to explain the crime. But then we get another great line there where he goes like, they're talking about like having to find. It's hard to remember things about this movie because I didn't care while watching it. So you're just like, what? Why were they talking about that? But he said he has the you have to go to the favor ATM and make a withdrawal. And he's like, I
favor
can't because
ATM.
you're gonna
You're overdrawn.
Yeah, you're overdrawn.
Go to the favor ATM. God knows you're overdrawn.
And I was like,
So stupid.
that's great writing.
But then the greatest edit in this whole movie happens here where he goes, well, you're going to have to go do the leg work. And it hard cuts to the stripper's legs in the air,
Just some legwork.
which is great. And then that's when it's like the Japanese mafia, Yakuza people are getting the lap dances in the private room.
He was snorting cocaine off her
Off the
back.
stripper. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. It does do it's the pan down the legs to the cocaine on the stripper's lower back.
Yeah.
Lower back, yeah.
Which is a weird, I don't know. That seems weird to me, but whatever.
I've never been to a strip club, I can't say.
Yeah.
Maybe that's
also
what you
never
do.
done coke off a stripper, so I can't say either. But so we get that whole thing, and there's more nudity, so we're like, nudity means nothing. I just can't. I don't even
got boring.
care anymore. I'd rather see a naked man at this point. Like,
That would have
throw
been
in
a
some-
trip.
Throw in
I would've been happy
something
about
to
that.
like, yeah,
I'd be
maybe,
like, all
maybe
right.
for that. What's Tack? I think was her name, the leather-bound woman.
Oh.
Like maybe like a male stripper for her, and then be like, oh, good, something to break up the monotony of this movie.
Yeah.
But he gets mad. Weeb guy gets mad because Debbie's not dancing with him, so he throws the cocaine at the woman, and he says something like "keep it" or whatever. And,
Oh, yeah. Keep yours.
Change.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he starts like slow dancing with Debbie, and that's when the Russian good guy, our friend Misha, sees him, and he's like, "Hey, don't be near my stripper girlfriend."
Well,
Which
he's gonna propose to. 'Cause he
Yeah.
had the ring.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, that's
they
right.
haven't proposed.
yeah, I forgot. I was like, did they even bring that up in the movie yet?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he sees, but that's weird because it's like you're in love with a stripper. You should understand that's how the business works. Like every time there's, yeah, we'll just have.
I
we'll
wish
have
that song
funny
was in
later.
there. I would have been a
They
little
can't
happier.
afford it. They can only afford the knockoff Alanis Morissette music.
Which was great.
Yeah, but
I
so
don't want
we
to take that away
do-
from the movie.
Yeah,
That
song-
soundtrack was the
It
two
gets-
songs they had.
It gets stuck in my head,
Yeah.
that one from the trailer. But yeah, it just seems weird to me though, because it's like, would he get mad when she's up on stage? Like, does he get all mad, like, oh, all these people are watching? Like,
Well, yeah,
I
because it
don't
was
know.
weird. He went to the he was like looking in the private room, and then he's like,
Which I thought that was like a one-way mirror.
I figured it would have been, but maybe maybe that's his power. He's got like
he
superhuman
actually
eyes.
is a mutant and he
Yeah.
can see through things.
Sorry, I missed that. Could you say it again?
Whoa, it's
I'm sorry, Siri.
Brought to you by Siri. Hey, Siri.
It's okay, Siri.
Thanks.
We're gonna be all right.
But then that's when we cut to the more gun exposition where they talk about how AK-47s work. And you're like, cool, I don't really care. But they're talking about that the Japanese mafia is gonna sell weapons to the Russian mafia, and then he's like, well, we got a hold of, or he was like, isn't your uncle gonna be mad? And the Japanese mafia guy's like, no, I killed him.
He didn't say that. He said, I took care of business.
Oh, I took care of business. And then there's like a...
Which I
don't know.
loved. It
Like,
was
I
like,
mean-
we all know what you did.
With this movie, it's like these scenes are so long for like delivering the least amount of information.
Yeah.
You're like, how much longer do I have to watch this for?
For a little 5-second thing where you're like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, that's why we're here.
Yeah, so I mean, then that's established. We got that established, right? And so then you do. Oh, this is when they establish the next part is when he's talking. The main Russian mobster guy is talking to Takura, the main Japanese mafia guy.
Don't think too hard about
I
this
know,
movie.
because then he's talking about the blonde stripper, remember? And this is when she's dancing, and it's like the camera's like lusting after her, like it's really like aggressively.
It is aggressive.
Filming her, and he's like, she's so smart and strong, like talking about how she's like this strong, independent woman, while this movie's also like, look how hot she is. So that was dumb, but it's setting up that the Russian mobster guy wants to give the business over to her.
Yes. Which never
Which-
really made sense to me because that's still a money-making aspect for him,
I mean,
obviously.
it's money laundering too.
Yeah.
Like you could probably claim way more money in a strip club, and they'd be like, "Sure, you know, we're the IRS. We don't look into strip clubs, I guess."
Classic IRS.
Yeah, and so then because then that's it. That establishes the blonde woman's gonna do that.
Well, also an important note would be that the Russian henchman who explains the whole Glock thing to the big Russian guy,
Mm-hmm.
he's like, make me a cocktail, but no pineapple juice. It gives
Oh.
me the shits. That's important, I feel like.
I forgot about that.
That
yeah,
was like, I think, pinnacle to his character.
it comes up later in the movie.
I hope so.
Yeah, that'd be great. But then this is the scene that we fast forward through on our second viewing where the Japanese mafia guy goes after Debbie. And I wouldn't say like rapes her, but it's definitely like a sexual assault
Yeah.
situation, which you're like, ew, movie. Like, no, you shouldn't have done that. But I mean, I guess this is a good time to talk about how the fact that this movie was produced by Roger Corman, who is famous for being like, throw a rape scene in your movie. So that kind of makes sense why it's in the movie, because you're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But it's kind of awful, and it's really upsetting. And then there's a fight between the Japanese mafia guy and the Misha, the good Russian guy, where then it's like, the deal's off. Your people attacked me because I tried to sexually assault one of your strippers. And so it's this whole thing.
Well, no, because he doesn't say that.
Yeah, you're right.
He
He doesn't admit
says,
to it.
Misha attacked me unprovoked.
Yeah.
And then that guy's just like, that sounds like the Misha I know.
Yeah.
I'm going to go after
When
him.
literally
You're like,
everybody, the woman that he says he trusts more than anyone comes in and goes, he tried to sexually assault Debbie. He goes, no, he didn't. And you're like, wait, didn't you just say how, like, she's the one you trust the most?
she's like your number 2, basically.
Yeah, but I guess it's like, it's money making, whatever. They're bad guys. Everyone's bad in this movie. Who cares? This is when I wrote, like, all these scenes leading after this where it's like they're trying to calm everyone down. And there's like 3 different locations.
That was too confusing.
Of people trying to calm down. I wrote, I don't care about any of these people. And I don't think that's the feeling I'm supposed to have during this scene.
Although I did love the scene where he's trying to calm down Misha and he's like smacking around and he swings his hand and breaks the light. And you're like,
the best.
Shut up!
Yeah.
Yeah, because I
you
thought
need
it
to
was,
calm down. That's Misha.
I thought it was the boom.
Yeah.
On the second shot, 'cause you see a shadow moving.
Yeah.
But Clayland was like, no, that's just the light.
Yeah, he just smacks the shit out of that light.
Yeah, it's just like,
It doesn't even phase him either.
no,
He's
that's how.
acting.
Yeah.
He's a great actor. He's up there with Daniel Day-Lewis.
I like to
like,
think there's glass in his
or
hand.
no,
That's why
uh,
they had to bandage him up later because it
No,
was just
that was
constantly bleeding.
who was
Leo.
that? Yeah, Leo from Django. It's the exact same. I don't see a difference. Yeah, so I literally have like a half a page of notes of them just like who's talking to who, trying to calm people down. And
I feel like I
then-
should have done that because I got lost and I just kind of
It
zoned
doesn't
out for
help.
a second.
It
and
doesn't
then
help though. Like,
Everything
I'm-
was pseudo resolved.
It just doesn't matter. And then the Russian guy's like, "We trust you. We don't want to lose out on this deal. So he pulls out the same knife that the Japanese mafia guy was using." And I was like, "Well, that's weird, but okay, whatever." And he's like, "We'll get your,
We'll get that pinky
we'll get
for you.
your
Don't you worry."
satisfaction." Yeah. And then Debbie and the Russian good guy just leave. And that's it.
Well, then they go to the house.
Well, yeah, but we don't know that yet.
Oh.
Because we cut back to Detective Judah, who's shopping around for a hooker.
He's doing the legwork.
Yeah, which has one of my favorite lines of this movie, where one of the prostitutes walks up and goes,
Want some rumpy bumpy? 2 for the price of 1.
Don't know what that is. I don't
And
know
I'm
if that's
definitely
something
always
prostitutes
going-
say.
I'm definitely going to always refer to sex as Rumpty Bumpty from
Because
now on.
he's Humpty Dumpty.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Foreshadowing. But so he ends up getting this not stripper. Well, what's the difference at this point?
They all do kind of do the same thing in this movie. It's like
prostitute.
she's a prostitute and a stripper, and I really don't know the difference in this movie.
And so she gets in the car, and it's kind of established that they had a previous something, like maybe more of like a client, like John escort situation going on.
Yeah.
But he just is like, give me some information, and then he shows the money, and then there's a great line there too where he says,
Look, are you going to take my money and snort it, or are you going to follow through?
he's like, that's nice, good, that's how you make friends.
That's how I want my cops to be with the
And then
prostitutes.
she starts,
Take that.
yeah, she starts rubbing his leg, and I wrote in here, she looks at his belt. She gets a good look at his belt, real close up. Because we're trying to keep it PG in this room. So she just goes and just takes a look at it. Then I don't even.
That scene was just awkward too.
Yeah, because then next we go.
Because she's sitting there talking to him, and you're like, oh, this is just gonna be some exposition. And then she goes,
yeah,
and you're like,
she takes her shirt off.
done with this.
And leaves it off.
Yeah,
the entire time. There's-
Yeah,
I thought it was more of a power move.
yeah, I thought, that's a good.
You
Call.
gonna arrest me, Tony? Come on, we go way back.
Yeah,
We
come
go
on.
way back.
Can't
Yeah.
do shit.
Well, because what is it? He says like something about like someone's gonna watch your ass, and she's like, weren't you always interested in different parts of
Oh
me?
yeah, and
you're
she
like,
does the.
Cut to his license plate.
Yeah.
That would have been a
be
much
so
better
happy.
scene.
I'd be so happy because yeah, that was just like okay, a situation for more nudity. I
Yep.
guess.
But I feel like at this point, the movie's used too many like nudity minutes. I don't know what you'd call the like
the nudity
conversion.
timers.
Yeah.
Like yeah.
They've gone over.
They don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't care.
This movie has more nudity than I think a lot of the movies that actress, the blonde actress, went in to be.
Well, yeah,
later.
it's definitely not to wrap it up, but it's softcore porn with less narrative.
Yeah.
Like,
all right.
Truly.
That's
And
it. Let's go.
That's hard
a
as
wrap.
nails.
I mean, that's true though. That is
Yeah.
what this movie is. Because then we cut from here after the stripper scene. We're now in the motel with
Okay.
Debbie.
No, I don't think it's a motel. I think it's their
Whatever.
place.
I don't know what anything
Because
is.
how are they gonna
They're
find
in a
them?
different location.
Yeah.
It's not the strip club.
Yeah.
But it had a
Which I'm
kitchen in
thrown.
it.
I'm like,
Yeah.
is this? Are they in the strip club still?
It had
But it
a-
kind of looks like a room in the strip club.
Could be.
It's probably the same set.
Probably.
It's the same set. He's
Well,
taking
I
the
have a
benefit.
theory about where the sets come from.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get into that in
Yeah.
a second. Yeah. Because that's literally my next page of notes is all about that. But this is where they're like, oh, we have to leave, and she's packing up all of her lingerie because she doesn't own a single piece of real clothing.
Yeah, because everything she puts up, she's like, is
it's like
this
lingerie,
good?
lingerie.
Is this good? And you're like,
Do you have
then-
anything that'll keep you warm?
Yeah, or just
obviously the
covered.
lingerie.
Yeah.
As
In
a
any way.
wise Cardi B once said, a hoe never get cold.
Damn.
Mm-hmm.
If that ain't
She
the
keeps
truth.
it real.
Yep.
Yeah.
I
Thank
don't
you.
remember the whole quote, but it was a vine.
Maybe we'll throw
respect
that up.
that.
We'll throw that up
respect
so
that.
everyone can see it.
I would
But with
be
your
so happy.
voice, we're gonna get your voice and voice is yours. But yeah, so this is she's talking about something about like we have to run away, and then Misha is like, what if we made it our honeymoon? And he pulls out the ring, and
That's
you're
the way
like,
to do it.
oh my God, they're gonna get married, I guess. I don't care. About any
I
of
feel
these
like
people.
you shouldn't say that. You should be like, oh, good, they're going to get married.
Oh, good,
It's
they're
the
gonna
characters
get out
we're
of-
supposed to care about.
Oh, good, they're gonna be able to walk away from this life of crime unharmed.
Thank goodness. If I know anything about the mafia, that's how it works. When
Yeah.
you get married, you're out.
Yeah,
You're all
it's not
good.
like the John Wick movie wasn't just entirely about the whole process of leaving the Russian mob.
Right?
No, this has obviously done its research. John Wick.
John Wick hadn't even come out yet. That's
Do you think
2001.
it's like attached to the same universe?
Probably. That's
John
what
Wick is-
John Wick had to go clean up this mess that was created.
I sure hope so.
Which is why, yeah, John Wick 3, it's like, you know, you start bringing in like the more samurai type characters. Like
Yeah.
it's the Yakuza. Boom. Hard as nails started off. this.
It was a
Prequel
dumb
to
movie
John
that I
Wick.
just turned into every movie.
Yeah, it turns out you can be the prequel to every movie ever made. Because then we go, and that's where your set thing comes in, because Misha goes outside.
He goes outside to the Newsies.
Newsies, yeah.
The Disney musical about newspaper delivery people, whatever it is.
We end up on a high school play stage. That is the most
With so much
facade-looking-
fog.
So, because they have to hide the seams in the
Yeah.
paper. Yeah, and it's
Seems rough.
I mean, I don't know how to sum up everything that happens after this point, except for spinning, shooting,
Screaming.
screaming. Misha gets his hand cut off.
Alexei, shoot! Put it down! Misha! Get out of the way! Please, put it down! Get out of the way! I'll kill you if I have to! For Deb's sake, please, put it down! Misha!
Both hands.
Does he get both hands cut off?
Yeah, because he's holding the gun and they come this way. And I can only assume both went off.
That's fair. So Misha's screaming on the ground with his hands missing,
But
and
they don't ever show them missing,
Yeah,
which
it
I was
needs
really
blood.
disappointed about. I
this
was like,
movie,
you're gonna show everything else, but not
they were
his hands.
they were
get cut
scared of
off?
getting an R, like a hard R for. I mean, it is already rated R for not nudity.
Like Star Wars: A
surprisingly.
New Hope
Yeah,
showed
The arm off.
coming off
yeah.
with blood.
I think they just couldn't afford it. Because you see,
How hard
all
could
of-
it be to get someone to pull their sleeves up and just put some
I mean,
like
that's true.
hoses and go?
That would
I
have
would've
been a
been
great
so
cutaway
happy.
to see the little nubs, but you can tell it's him like holding something.
Yeah, I would-
His sleeves are just pulled forward a little bit.
Would have saved that scene for me.
Yeah, because this movie needs blood, and every time there is
not an action
blood,
movie to me.
Yeah, every time there is blood, it's always after it happens, and it's
Yeah.
like painted on. I think it's the same prosthetic they put on everybody too.
That's why, because later on, well, we'll get to that.
Yeah,
but the
we'll get to
stabbing,
all that, yeah.
I think they just put it on the neck and they're like, boom.
Yeah, because that is what. Yeah, and so then Misha's dead, and Debbie starts
Does he die
screaming.
now? I thought
Yeah,
his body
he
was
dies.
missing.
No, he dies because remember, what's his name?
They
The
never
Russian guy.
see the body again.
Oh.
Yeah,
And he's sitting there holding me and he's like,
Vladimir.
Misha!
Oh, that's
And
right.
you're
that's
rocking
right.
and you're like,
He
well,
starts
that's
slapping him again.
breaks
What?
another light.
See that catch? Got that on camera.
Thank God we saved that movie.
Yeah. Oh no, we can't let it. Well, I was more worried about my drink. Like, no, don't knock over something precious to me. Yeah, that'd be great. To quit dying.
Come back.
This wasn't supposed to happen.
I mean, isn't that what he is actually screaming? Cause dumb. The whole thing's dumb. But
I don't know. It was eclipsed by Debbie screaming while spinning, and
Yeah.
then being told to get out the
someone
building.
needed to start slapping Debbie.
For real.
He needed to go up there and start slapping lights around her. But so the blonde woman tells Debbie to leave, out the window, which is dumb because she's like sneak out the side, and you had pointed out that she screams the whole time. she's
She
sneaking out
opens up the window to leave and she goes,
Yeah, she's just
Says,
screaming. Yeah, and so then you're like, okay, I guess she's gonna get away. Yeah, they're never gonna notice that. But then
Enter Matrix
yeah,
Samurai.
Matrix Samurai, which they reveal something about her in this scene, which is her eyes are like white.
which makes me think Blade Vampire.
Yeah,
Right.
I thought they were gonna do a vampire thing too, because you were like, it looks like she wants to make out with the blonde woman, and she has her like pressed up against the wall. And I thought maybe things were gonna come out, and I was like, oh,
Right.
vampires.
Did Matrix Reloaded already come out?
Not yet.
I don't know.
I think only the first Matrix has
Right.
come out.
Because it's 2001, and that was. what,
Everyone's still
98,
riding the hype of the first
99?
Matrix.
Yeah.
We're gonna make the.
Well, the ghosts.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be my only connection there. They're like, well,
Well, because that one dude has dreads too. Like
can't
the-
have special effects, so let's just give them the eye contact.
Yeah.
Boom, you know
So
what
now
it
they're
is.
Ghost Samurai.
Yeah.
From Matrix.
But she's also the
Well, who
worst
cares?
samurai in that scene because she's
Yeah.
swinging the sword, and the blonde girl, I can only assume, is not trained. I'm only assuming, but
She's got
she's just
stripper
like,
training. Yeah, that's that great scene where her hands are like this, and you're
Yeah.
like, I
Yeah.
thought she was cutting her hands, so it's gonna be like blood, But it's like, no, she was dodging it. She was like,
Dodging.
whoo, and then she does the like, whoo.
and then the backflip onto the bed and then flip off. And I
No,
was like,
she's
wow.
she's kicked onto the bed.
No, I thought the samurai was.
No,
The samurai
oh,
was.
yeah, you're right.
The sword's back there, and instead of just like, they don't do anything like not special. She goes back, grabs the sword, and then comes back.
That's
like,
right.
Off
Yeah.
of her arms with the sword.
And she's always swinging like 3 minutes late for everything.
Yeah, like all of a sudden, like she sucks at killing people.
Well, I think
Yeah.
it's her ghost contacts are getting in her way
They
now.
shifted.
So, yeah, she's like,
Yeah.
ah.
I can't see, I'll just swing.
She'll
Yeah.
dodge it. She's trained.
Because that's the whole thing. Like the blonde woman's on the couch, and then the blonde woman's like off of the couch by the time
She brings the sword
yeah,
down.
she has the sword down. So the blonde woman is now the more trained person out of the situation. But so there's a whole thing where her locket or necklace gets pulled off.
Which I don't know if that's important.
But then
Foreshadowing. For
oh, then she grabs the tiny fire extinguisher
Oh, yeah.
and hits her over the
something.
head.
Yeah.
Wait, it's so fake. It needed like a boom sound when she hit her. 'Cause it's so bad. So then she like passes out or whatever. She dies.
Gets
She doesn't
knocked out.
die.
No, she
I
doesn't.
was about to say, she comes back in a
Yeah,
big way.
like-
She can't
in
die
a
because she's
second.
been dead.
Oh.
She's a ghost samurai. She's a
They
ghost
paid extra for
dog.
that.
But yeah, so then the blonde woman, then we cut, during that fight, we cut to Debbie's on like the bottom of the stairs of the fire escape.
Still screaming.
But she can't go down all the way on the stairs. She's like stuck.
It cuts to the wide, and it's like the ladder touches the ground.
She's just like stuck
And she's
climbing up
going
and
back
down.
up. What are you doing?
Then it like cuts back to her and she's going back down the stairs and she's just like she can't get off of the stair of the ladder.
Dad, keep going! Keep going!
She's like stuck. It's like when you're playing Resident Evil or Silent Hill and you're doing the ladders and the camera angle changes, so the
Yeah.
perspective changes, so you accidentally start going up for a second and you're like, oh, I gotta go back down. So that's what's happening to her.
She's living that.
Yeah, and you're like, oh my god, and the blonde woman thankfully comes out and goes like, hey idiot, go down. Like
I'm
the ladder
coming, you
goes
go
down.
down.
Yeah, but she's still screaming the whole time, like, ah. And then
Hysterically.
And then I don't even remember what happened. Like I think I'm just gonna assume the leather-clad woman
We can call her Ghost
jumps
Samurai.
out of the window.
I'm going to call her Tick. I have no...
She's Tack. She's absolutely Tack. Tick is the other guy.
That's a shame.
But so I'm gonna assume she just jumps out the window because that's way cooler than I don't think they show what happens, how she gets outside.
I like to think she does a flip, throws her sword down, does a flip out, and then grabs it. Like you said, they can't do
Yeah.
anything normally.
Yeah, it's all off camera. It's left up. They were like, it's best if we leave that to the imagination.
And
of
I'm
the
glad they
audience.
did.
Which is probably what they did with the hands too. Like they can imagine Misha's hands being cut off, and it's better than anything we could show them.
That's true.
But the nudity's
seeing-
not that way. They're like, we
Nope.
have to show them what these women look like naked. They can't
can't
come up-
imagine.
yeah. But yeah, so then they're being chased down an alley, and basically, I mean, like, it's just like a bunch of spinning.
Well, and then
screaming.
the blonde girl hops the little fence thing like a pro.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
like a springboard.
I know what you guys are talking
Yeah.
about. Debbie and her are running, right?
Yeah, down the alleyway.
And then Matrix Ghost Tack
That's
is
right.
doing cartwheels like after them. Doing cartwheels after them.
She's
not
like, it's too
running.
easy if I run.
I
Let's
mean,
make this a
Why
challenge.
run when I can spin?
Yeah. Think of all the momentum she has.
Oh my
to then
Bring
come
that
to a
sword
complete
in.
stop and pull the sword out.
I'm trying. Help me out. Help me out.
And stab Debbie
Kills Debbie.
in the back, which I don't think actually would kill you.
Well, in this case, it does. And then I guess she's out of energy from doing all those cartwheels, so she can't jump over the thing. Like
She's
the
like, she made it.
yeah,
Her
she's
energy
like,
bar up. She's
her
like,
energy bar.
Yeah, she's like, dang, I have to reload.
She's doing
that.
the sad little walk you do after like
Yeah.
Grand Theft Auto when you run too long and you're like, oh god, here comes the cops. Come on, bar, fill up.
Yeah, you're
Ow.
like, come on. You're like, because yeah, she just, yeah, that happens, and you're like, okay, but then, yeah, that's it. But then, that's when they cut back to the detective who's looking in the dumpster, and Debbie's dead body is in the dumpster.
You get anything?
Little headway. God. What is she, 17?
Yeah, different MO this time.
Single stab to the back. Look at her ankle.
What do these Russians do? Brand the hookers they import?
Which is the part where they
Oh yeah.
Who
he
dragged
explains.
the body? It doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
Well, and
Well,
also
her
where's
stamina
Misha?
came back, so
And
she
you-
picked it up
You
and threw
mentioned
it.
that earlier. Misha's not there, so it's like they did something to get rid of Misha's body.
I like to
But
think
not
they threw him in
Debbie.
the ocean. There's no proof that there's an ocean anywhere near
Also,
them.
was that the same dumpster from where they put the other woman?
No, she was in a.
Oh, she was in the house.
a
Cargo
U-Haul.
van, yeah.
Yeah, the cargo van. Yeah, that's
Cargo
right. I
van's
totally
a-
forgot that even
I'm
happened.
sorry, U-Haul. That was
Yeah,
inappropriate.
uh-oh. U-Haul, great for storing dead
Yikes.
bodies. Don't sue us.
Don't say this.
But that's where Debbie is revealed to be 17 years old.
Yikes.
And then you're just all of a sudden like, I mean, the only response you can have is like, fuck you, movie. Because you're like, you just showed us her stripping so much.
And
like, we
having
saw her, yeah, and having
simulated
sex, yeah. And then you tell us she's
I mean,
17.
at least the underwear was on, but
It's so gross.
It
You're just
was.
like, oh
I
my
was like,
god,
nope.
movie. I mean, like, does it do anything to have her being 17? Like, you could have just been like, she's 18, and that's still just a sad. It's still a dead stripper. But yeah, so then looks like we gotta start wrapping it up.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, it's good because the action scene is like.
yeah. I
You're
mean,
good.
like, yeah. So we go and we're having to.
Well,
we
this is
see
when-
that GQ Keanu, who is the other guy.
What is his name? It starts with an A.
Is he not?
Albatross.
I don't know what his name was. I call him GQ Keanu because he looks attractive. That's when we learn that he's an
I
undercover
don't want to go
cop.
into that right now.
He's an undercover
Yep.
cop.
no, he's not. He's an undercover.
Yeah, remember it's
Yeah,
like you've
'cause
been
he
doing
goes-
this for 2 years.
that's
You
the guy
can't
that we
blow
thought
it
was a
now.
different
I thought that
actor.
was the guy.
No,
I
that's-
thought that was the Russian dude.
That is the Russian dude.
That's who we're talking
Oh.
about.
Yeah, that's GQ Keanu.
Okay.
So yeah, so then, I mean, we could just like,
I say we just hard cut to the end.
yeah, we can't literally just, because like all that you learn, I mean, the only thing that will be missing is the greatest line in the whole movie, which is that the detective came like a volcano. So we have to bring that up because that's so
Because
great.
they felt it was important enough that they said it.
Came as soon as I could.
You came like a volcano in your car last night.
Yeah, but so then it basically is like, oh, you know, you're an undercover cop, whatever, blah blah blah.
Because the blonde woman sees her at the, or sees
Yeah.
him at the police station, which I
Yeah.
thought was funny because she didn't make a face to see say she saw him.
But they made eye contact.
I don't think they did.
Yeah, they did.
They did?
They established
That movie didn't
that.
make me feel that.
So then basically they cut off they cut off the undercover cop's fingers, and then they're
They
gonna
do it one at a
kill
time.
him. Yeah.
And which was another great scene because she's like, "Stop torturing
Yeah,
him," and you're
stop
like,
torturing him, just kill
"It's
him," and
the
you're like,
mafia,
yeah,
and he broke
how
the
the mob
rule
works.
in the biggest way." He's
So-
a cop.
You end up, he's missing fingers, and then you get the scene that we thought was going to be super cool, but it wasn't. And he's like, they're going to kill you because there's bombs underneath your car while he's bleeding out. He's like, oh, God, my fingers are missing. Which we made the joke that his fingers were bleeding like a volcano.
Nice.
His fingers were
Yep.
coming like it. Every chance we got, we were like, coming like a volcano, coming like a
There-
volcano.
Solid line.
So then you get a bunch of car chases that are from a different movie entirely.
They have to be because those cars are too expensive for this movie.
They cannot afford to break that many cars.
Make a left, sharp left here. Go, go. Right, sharp right. Go, 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 go.
And then there's that great scene where the cops are driving and they hit that oil slick in the road.
Yeah.
And the cop's like, oh shit. And the cop that runs into him's like, oh shit. And then the cop that hits, like, flies off of those other cars. And you're like, that's not
not how cars work.
possible. Yeah. And so basically, it looks like everybody's dead, but it turns out nobody's dead.
Yep.
Cut to Russian mobster.
Yeah.
The foreshadowing with Game Boy.
Yeah. Well, 'cause that's not yet, because then we have to do the
You're too excited
the blonde
about it.
woman. The blonde woman and the undercover cop
It was a
have
long
sex
movie.
So
much.
long. I am so lost.
I have a note.
I was lost watching it.
Yeah, I have a note during that just says like this movie needs to be over.
It did.
But then you get the whole thing about they do the the blonde woman and the undercover cop are just having constant sex in the safe house.
Yes.
And
Because,
it turns
you know,
out-
nothing is more sexy than bandaging up
This guy
someone's...
has open finger wounds.
Yeah.
And
Like she bandages them up pretty well.
Yeah.
I was like, this woman is multi-talented.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stripper, karate expert.
Obviously a medic.
Yeah. I was like, man, and I understand why she's your number 2.
Yeah, and
She
so
can do
then
everything.
We get that scene though where the stripper or the hooker and the detective go into the strip club, and we get that great scene where he's looking around with a flashlight during
In a well-lit,
in a well-lit area. But then that one mobster stands up and he goes,
Shit! Freeze! Who are you? I don't know you, cowboy. Oh!
and we love that. I don't know you, cowboy. And the mobster comes in, and that's when the stripper comes up and is like, "Are we finally gonna have our lap dance?" And he picks her up and just goes like, "Not now, Connie." And you're like, "Poor Connie."
Oh, come on.
Not now, Connie.
I did love that she got a reference in the credits, even though that was her only scene to my knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah, she did. Well, she also has a speaking role, so technically that's SAG. But then this is where everybody shows up at the safe house to kill the undercover
Everybody.
cop and the
Right.
blonde woman. There's a shootout, lots of spinning. One of the mobsters shoots a gun like this. I don't think that's an effective way to fire a gun. I don't know anything about guns, but this seems stupid. Like, are you gonna like hold your hand back from the recoil?
Maybe. I don't
Whatever.
know.
It's dumb.
Let's go to a range and find out.
So then this is what you're talking about with the foreshadowing.
Yes.
Because the mobster ends up there with the blonde woman, and what happens to him?
He's beaten with a lamp, a tall lamp, and pushed into a tub that was already full from their night of...
Post-coital water.
Yeah.
I didn't think about
They
that.
didn't even drain the
Yeah, they just left it sitting.
Classic.
Sick.
That's pretty gross.
Knocks him into that, and then luckily, you know, there's a fan in there because the tub was too hot, so they had to turn a fan on.
That sex was too steamy.
It's too steamy. Hits the fan into the water, electrocutes
No, not
him.
into the water. Just on top of him while
Yeah,
he's in the water.
yeah.
And really bad lightning effects show up.
It was like some Palpatine level lightning.
And he starts foaming at the mouth, which I was surprised by.
That was
like,
cool.
Good job,
was-
movie. And then that's... Oh, go ahead.
What we're forgetting, though, I think the main theme of the movie, which is stated so many times throughout it, is the fact that you can't lose face. That once you lose face, you have to regain face.
By cutting off fingers.
By cutting off fingers.
Yeah.
Who was it that had to be hard as nails in this?
Everybody.
Everybody.
I think the blonde one.
I think the blonde.
had to be.
Is that what that...
I think so. Well, because then she fights
No, it says he must be hard as nails.
Maybe the undercover cop. I don't know.
He wasn't
Everybody.
hard as nails, though.
Maybe it's everybody.
He was going up. He had 2 years
Well,
of
he
being
was
in
hard
that.
as nails when he was with the blonde woman.
Maybe. We don't know.
But so then she gets into the fight with the sword, the samurai woman, and blocks samurai sword strikes with a fan, which is
wasn't-
impossible.
No, it's not impossible. It's impressive.
Yeah. So then they fight. She ends up like taking her sword and stabbing her with it.
Yeah.
And she does the classic like arm holding it.
Well, but then the best part with that was it was a very long scene. She like gets it, and then she goes down to her knees, and then is like bending back, and they go back to the action, and then it goes back to her still dying, and I was like,
Yeah, she takes a while to die.
I mean,
and then basically,
she was important,
Oh,
I
the
guess.
detective gets shot, and there's more screaming. And I think like it's like everybody's dead now. The mobster guy, the Japanese Yakuza mobster guy gets killed.
It's all resolved.
Yeah, it's just like really neatly resolved. And it literally, I was like, I'm just gonna fast forward till the credits start because I think we get the point. But it didn't matter because they're all just like crying over the dead body of the detective. And
maybe he was who was supposed to be hard as nails,
yeah.
and that's why he died.
So no one was hard as nails. The trailer lied to us. This movie wasn't cool. We didn't get that cool flash like one bitch to another.
I did. That was
thing.
my favorite part of the trailer.
Yeah, it looks so cool, but the movie was dumb. And yeah, I mean, I'm not like offended by it. It's not so bad it's offensive.
But I do feel gross after watching it.
Yeah.
It wasn't a
Make me feel
fun.
good.
Well,
It
it's like-
wasn't a fun trashy.
It's kind of like
Yeah.
any later Roger Corman film where you're like, this feels gross.
It made me feel like I was in the post-coital tub.
Yeah. Aren't we all
Nasty.
in the post-coital tub of life?
Nasty.
That is gross. Why
Coital?
didn't they...
Coitus?
Coitus. Post-coitus.
We're
No,
getting
it'd
into
be-
semantics again. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I think it's
But so basically this movie
post-coital.
sucks. Nobody should watch it. There's a
Yeah.
reason it only exists. I think it actually does have a DVD release.
That's a shame. There are much
bad.
better
But
VHSs that
because
should
that's
not.
at the point, 2001 is the point where they're releasing DVDs and VHS
Oh,
together.
yeah.
Oh.
But yeah, so this movie sucks, and we're going to sacrifice it to the VHS.
I don't know if we
demon.
should, man.
I think
Could
we
get
should-
mad.
No, he does want stuff like this. Yeah.
That's rough.
It was all explained in our intro. That's going to
Okay.
play at some point.
Yeah.
That he does want things like this. He doesn't
Okay.
want good movies.
Oh, that's a
and
shame.
things that have really long descriptions on them.
Dennis Hopper.
So if you want to watch this whole movie, don't.
Best
Watch the
review you
trailer
can give.
again, and he'll get all the best parts.
Name the Alanis Morissette cover band.
Yeah, they were great. Everything
Powder.
about this movie was awful except for the things that we liked. Like we never got a resolution about who the leather-clad people were. That never came up.
Don't need it.
Yeah, it's like, hey, you want to know who that is? Fuck you.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, thanks.
I'll sit down.
Thanks, movie. But yeah, so hard as nails, more like soft as
Dumb as shit.
Yeah, there we go. Dumb as shit. We'll make another poster of that.
Be sure to call your family, folks.
Yeah, call your mom. Tell her not to watch Hard as Nails on Amazon. I'm sure it's on there.
Yeah.
Don't let her phone.
Probably like
trap.
$2, and it's a.
No, it's probably free. Someone probably already uploaded it.
Yeah.
So yeah, protect your family. Goodbye, everybody.